Living in Houston means we get to enjoy an amazing community and, honestly, some pretty great mild winters. But it also means dealing with a very serious annual reality, hurricane season. Today, we're turning that overwhelming threat of Southeast Texas storms into an empowering, step-by-step playbook for survival and recovery. We are literally taking the guesswork completely out of your hurricane prep.
Because let's face it, living near the Gulf Coast means we're going to face some pretty intense tropical cyclones. But seeing a massive storm churning out there in the Gulf, that should inspire panic. No way! That's simply your signal to get to work. It's a powerful visual reminder of exactly why we need to be ready.
I love how the National Weather Service puts it. Preparation is not about fear, it is about taking control before the storm arrives. Hit the nail on the head, right? Our whole goal today is to empower you to take that control, long before those outer storm bands ever even think about reaching the Houston area.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the Southeast Texas threat, putting together your ultimate hurricane kit, fortifying your Houston home, knowing your evacuation zone, and finally, navigating the storm's aftermath.
All right, part 1, the Southeast Texas threat, decoding the danger. Let's get right into it.
Understanding the language used by meteorologists is totally crucial. There's a critical, literally life-saving distinction between a tropical storm or hurricane watch and a warning. It sounds super simple, but timing is absolutely everything here. A watch means conditions are possible within 48 hours, but a warning? That means conditions are expected in just 36 hours. That 12-hour difference, that's the critical window where your prep shifts from just gathering supplies to going into absolute final lockdown.
Moving on to part 2, your ultimate hurricane kit beyond the basics. Because surviving a severe storm in the Houston-Galveston area takes a lot more than just grabbing a few extra bottles of water. Actually, let me ask you right now, is your gas tank at least half full? The Houston Office of Emergency Management strongly advises keeping it at least half full for the entire duration of hurricane season. Trust me, you absolutely do not want to be stuck in massive, gridlocked lines at the pump the second an evacuation order drops.
Okay, let's talk about that kit. You need highly specific items that you probably won't even think of until it's way too late. We're talking about a white distress flag. Things like formula, baby food, and pacifiers if you have little ones. Got pets? You'll need their carriers and hard copies of their shot records. And here's a big one, a physical map showing county roads. Because let's be real, your smartphone GPS isn't going to save you when the cell towers snap. You'll also want battery-powered chargers and physical copies of important documents sealed up tightly in a waterproof container. You've got to gather the whole shebang before the stores are swamped and that inevitable, crazy-mad rush for supplies kicks in.
Next up, part 3, fortifying your Houston home, structural defense.
Once your kit is good to go, it's time to secure the place you'll actually be sheltering in. Securing a home is definitely a hands-on job. You'll want to grab silicone caulk early to seal any gaps or cracks around your windows and doors to prevent that nasty wind-driven water intrusion. And you've got to get those vulnerable windows covered with plywood long before the winds actually pick up. Seriously, if you have ever tried maneuvering a giant sheet of wet plywood, you know exactly why you want to get this done while the sun is still shining.
Now, if you're using sandbags for flood protection, the Allied Foundation recommends a very specific 3-step strategy. Number 1, choose polypropylene bags over burlap. Burlap just rots way too quickly in our super humid Houston environment. Number 2, stack them in a slope design facing the water source. This helps distribute the weight effectively. And number 3, this is a big one, dispose of them properly afterwards. Our local floodwaters can carry some pretty serious industrial pollutants, meaning those used sandbags basically become hazardous waste.
All right, let's move to part 4, knowing your evacuation zone, when to leave.
Sometimes conditions just get too rough, and the safest bet is simply getting out altogether. Authorities manage this massive, crazy logistical challenge using what they call zip zones. Basically, this means you only evacuate when your specific zip code is explicitly ordered to go. It's a staggered approach, and honestly, it's incredibly smart. It's totally designed to prevent absolute gridlock on the highways, avoid unnecessary travel, and really help ease the overwhelming overcrowding at local storm shelters.
The Houston-Galveston Area Council actually has official designated major hurricane evacuation routes, and the logistical support behind this is kind of fascinating. If an evacuation is officially ordered, the state of Texas steps in to supply fuel and critical resources specifically along those main arteries. The golden rule here, if you are told to leave, you leave immediately, and you take that fully prepared supply kit right along with you.
But we also have to make sure absolutely everyone gets out safely. So if you, a family member, or even a neighbor have functional needs, disabilities, or just require transportation assistance to evacuate, you need to register with STARE. That's the State of Texas Emergency Assistance Registry. And do it today. It's a totally free registry that gives local emergency planners exactly the info they need to come assist you. Seriously, do not wait until a storm is 36 hours away to try and make this call.
Finally, Part 5, Navigating the Storm's Aftermath, Recovery Rules.
Eventually, the storm will pass. But ironically, we then enter one of the most hazardous phases of all, the recovery. Returning home is inherently dangerous. If you evacuated, you absolutely must wait for the official all clear from the city or county before heading back. And hey, here is a highly specific pro tip straight from emergency managers. Be prepared to show proof of residence at neighborhood heavy machinery and debris checkpoints. The easiest way to do this? Just keep a physical copy of a recent utility bill tucked right into your glove box.
When you finally get home and the cleanup begins, you've got to gear up. We're talking heavy PPE, thick gloves, boots, masks. Keep in mind, the city requires you to separate your curb debris into very specific piles: construction materials, vegetative debris, and hazardous waste. Make sure you discard any unrefrigerated food, steer far clear of any wet electrical equipment, and, this is huge, before you move a single piece of debris, photograph and document absolutely all damage for your insurance claims.
So we've mapped out the before, the during, and the after. But as the National Weather Service reminds us, every single storm, every single year is a completely different story. We've laid out the knowledge directly from the experts, but I want to leave you with this final thought. If preparation is your script, will you step up, take control, and be the author of your own survival?